Dr. O'Brien, thank you for taking the time to meet with us.
Of course, Jim. This is important. We need to resolve this issue with Tanya right away.
Yes, I don't want to experience another day like today.
It sounds like it was a rough time. Why don't you tell me everything that happened today?
Okay. I could tell from the moment Tanya entered the classroom that she was out of sorts. She had left her book bag on the bus this morning and was very upset about that. We got through the morning okay, but when the fire alarm sounded this afternoon, well, that's when things got out of control.
Yes. This was our week to do our impromptu fire drill. The staff knew that it was going to happen this week. They just didn't know which day. That's our normal procedure.
Today, I think we learned that students like Tanya need a little more preparation.
Mm-hmm.
When the alarm rang, Tanya became, well, I don't know how else to say it. She freaked out. She jumped out of her chair, she put her hands over her ears, and she hid under my desk. By the time I got there, she was banging her head against the side of my desk and screeching. I tried to soothe her and explained that it was just the fire alarm, that everything was going to be okay, and that she needed to leave the building with me like we'd practiced. But she wouldn't move, and I could not get her to stop screeching.
Uh-huh.
By this time, the other students had lined up by the classroom door like they were supposed to and were waiting for me to lead them out of the building. I reached under my desk for Tanya, and she slapped my hand away, refusing to come out. So I knelt down next to her, I took her gently by the shoulders, and I tried to coax her out. And at this point, she went into a rage and lunged at me. She started smacking me in the face and kicking me. I tried to subdue her, but it was impossible. While I was recovering from a pretty powerful kick, she jumped out from under the desk and ran screaming down the hallway.
I was in the hallway at the time, and I saw her running toward the front entrance of the school. I was able to catch up with her and guide her out of the building. But by the time the alarm stopped, she was a little bit more manageable, but it still took another hour quiet time in the nurse's office before she was calm enough to return to her class. Once everyone was back in the building, I called Tanya's mother and told her about the incident, and I told her we would call her back after we consulted with you.
I see. Yes, it seems like it was quite a rough day.
Yeah.
Well, Debbie, you know that behavior like this would typically require a 3-day suspension.
Yes, but this isn't a typical situation, Randy.
No, but we can't have students hitting and kicking the teachers. We have to teach students that there are consequences for inappropriate behavior.
Oh, what Tanya did today was not acceptable behavior. However, when a child has an IEP, we have to take her disability into account when deciding what the consequence is going to be. Let's see. Jim, do I see that Tanya has a behavior intervention plan as part of her IEP?
Correct.
Okay, let's also
Principal.
look down. Extreme agitation in response to loud noises is one of the behaviors listed in the plan.
Yes, I was aware that this was an issue for Tanya, and I did try to follow the behavioral intervention plan as best I could. But when a child is kicking and screeching, it's hard to remember everything that you need to do in the moment.
Oh, I understand.
So what's our next step, Debbie?
The first thing we need to do is to schedule a manifestation determination meeting. At that meeting, the entire team, including Tanya's parents, of course, will review the incident and will decide if her behavior today was a manifestation of her disability or was Tanya willfully breaking the code of conduct. If we determine that Tanya's behavior was a manifestation of her disability, then we need to take a different approach in disciplining her. And at this meeting, I think we need to take a look whether her current placement is appropriate or not.
With the adaptations and accommodations we've made for Tanya, she functions very well in my classroom. I don't think that we need to consider an alternate placement.
You know, you're probably right, Jim, but we need to decide that as a team. The procedural safeguards are very clear that we have to look at all of these issues when a child with an IEP violates school policy.
Okay. I'm assuming this meeting will need to take place as soon as possible?
Yes, it needs to be held within 10 days of the incident. So when you contact Tanya's parents, Jim, please explain the entire process to them. They have the right under the procedural safeguards to be informed of school discipline issues regarding students with IEPs.
I'll call them as soon as we finish this meeting.
Thanks, Jim. And Randy, I realize we need to provide some sort of consequence for Tanya's behavior today. After all, students with disabilities are expected to follow the school code as well. We just need to make sure that we're going about this the right way.
I understand.
What we might want to do is consider taking a privilege away from Tanya, or maybe have her sit down with you one-on-one and go through why it's important to follow the school rules. We might be able to do that as part of a social story about what happens if a student breaks school rules. But the important thing is that we need to work on this together as a team to come up with an appropriate consequence and have a sensible plan moving forward from this point.
I think I'm getting this. It's all about helping Tanya understand that there are consequences for breaking the school rules, but to do so in a way that makes sense to her.
You got it. And we might also need to revise Tanya's behavior intervention plan to help if this fire drill issue.
And ways to help her deal with anxiety when she's caught off of her guard.
Oh, I agree.
Thank you.